Welcome to another Ruthless Ideas podcast. Today we have a little bit different of products to talk about. So it is June, so I want to change it up and have no specific kind of theme for this month. I just want to kind of attack any product I made and just be able to kind of free range it, not have to finish the products. I want to be able to just keep 3D printing, keep upgrading it, keep making it better. So we have a lot of products to talk about. So, oh goodness. All right, here's a list. So first off, we have I tried to do a falling cube, as in there's this little toy thing that's like a falling ladder where you drop a piece on it and it like every other like way falls down it. If you'd see it, you'd understand what I'm talking about, but that same kind of idea of it just falling, I want to do the same thing with like a cube and a ladder. I tried it, didn't work because I don't know. I don't think I'll be able to make it work. Just the sizing and the smoothness of combining all the parts together, I don't think will work, but still something I'm going to kind of check out and keep working on. The next one was a accidental part that I made, where the last week I made this bathroom organizer, and so I made this thing for deodorant. So I was printing that out and I accidentally, in like the slicer on how you like 3D print stuff, they overlapped and I didn't realize it. And so I 3D printed it. I got it out and was like, oh, geez, these are the same part, but they're overlapped. Turns out I just had to make a few adjustments like with the part and cut some things out. And it kind of made a cool part. I don't exactly know what I'm going to do with it yet, but still pretty cool. Still kind of just random, but it might be cool. I don't know, but still something I'm going to look at and work on. Pretty cool. Then another thing I made was a little track to hold all of my organizational pieces I made. So previous videos I made this organizer that holds a pen that you can also connect to different parts, and that's how like all the organizers are fitting together. So I made it and I made a bunch extra, and so then I just made a little channel that you can put them all in. It holds them together and it's more organized and it's not just laying all around. So not that cool, but still pretty cool. And then I made two different types of like perfect parts, I guess, as in they fit together with one another. Kind of like how, I don't know, like you have those plastic chairs that you can just continually stack on top of each other and it works and you can just do endless. I made it the same way where you just put them side by side and they fit together every single time and you can flip them over or whatever. It still works and it's pretty cool. So that one I was going to kind of take and try and make another organizer for, maybe a pen holder. Then I realized how many pens do people have on their desk? Not enough to make that. So passed on that one. But then I made another one it's like, so one of them has two little circles on it on the edges and they fit together. One of them is just two half circles put together. Looks kind of cool. Kind of looks, I don't know. There's no real point of them now. They were cool. They fit together though. So, and then the two kind of parts that I moved forward with and made the next video on were gears and a game. So the gears were kind of sweet, where I was making one part. I realized, oh, this kind of looks like a gear. Let's try to make a gear. So then I made a gear out of it. And then I was like, okay, I need to move it now. So then I made a different part that, not like normal gears where they both have like the same shape. The other gear I made just had pretty much pins down that would fit inside the gear slots and spin. And so that was kind of cool, and I'll talk a little more about that later. And then the next thing was a game that I made. This was accidental. I don't remember how I was going about it, but I made this piece that it was a circle with little, like, my connection pieces around it. There was 4 of them, hole in the middle, and I was like, whoa, will I be able to make this into a game? So then I added 2 extra pieces, 1 extrusion on the top, 1 cut in the bottom, so now they like can fit inside of each other. Turned out really cool. So then I made a little base for it, and then it fit on top of the base. Then I made little not pins, like kind of like little squares that would fit on the connection pieces on the outsides of the part, and it was cool. And I was like, whoa, I think this might be able to be a game. So then during this week, I've been kind of messing with the different number of connection male pieces that I can do on it. So, little description. Outlets have male and female parts. All outlets in the walls are normally female because it goes in. Then the male parts are with like all of your appliances or things you plug into the wall. That's the male part. So in the same way, I have female parts that go in that fit over top of the male parts that extrude out from the part. So for this toy game thing that I made, I put the male parts on the pieces and then the female parts on the little squares that you move up and down. So after cleaning that up, I decided to go and see how many I could make on one piece. And so I did 6 male parts on one piece, which was sweet. And then I also went all the way down to 2 male parts on one piece. And then I realized, well, this game has way more possibilities than I thought. So you ever have you're like sitting in bed and then you start thinking of like, man, I got to do this tomorrow. Oh, and I got to do this. And then you just realize you have 30 more things you actually had to do. Kind of the same thing with this game where I was like, oh, you could do this with this. Oh, you could do this with with the game as well. Oh, goodness. And so now I have 4 or 5 different ways you could play this game that I don't really know what the best way is. So I still have to kind of figure out the rules, but I was able to print the different number of male parts on the circles in different colors as well, plus the little square pieces you use for the game to move up and down. Those are different colored as well. And so the start of this was you would have to do it like a Rubik's Cube where you get all one side of color. Since it's a circle, you'd just do one straight path down it. And so then there'd be 4 different paths on each that are all different colors. So I was like, whoa, this might be kind of cool. And then I was like, you could actually increase the difficulty by limiting the number of male parts on the circle pieces. I know it's really hard to visualize, but okay, we're just going to call the circle pieces donuts. And then the pieces you move, we're going to call them sprinkles. So you take a sprinkle, you connect it onto the donut, and then you can move it up and down between different donuts. So the goal of it was you move the sprinkles up and down the donuts, and then you can move the donuts in a complete 360-degree way. And then you move it, and you'd have to the 15 puzzles, how you have to move some up and then down and kind of figure out your way to get it around. It's the same kind of way. So you'd have to try to move it around to get the sprinkles all in the right columns so that they line up with the colors and everything like that. And then the difficulty comes in where instead of having 4 male parts on one donut, you would have 3 or 2. So now you can't have you have 2 less male parts to be able to use, which increases the difficulty because you have to move like one or two up past that donut with the two male parts, move them down, and kind of smart yourself out of it, kind of. So there's a lot of ways you could do it with that. You could also have I have one that has 6, and so it's like now you could have 6 on one part, and then the one below it doesn't need to have that many. So it can kind of be whatever you want. And then the other way I thought was you just put all the pieces onto the game, all the sprinkles onto the donuts, and then you have colored dice that you roll. And so now you have to try and get the pieces off with the number that you rolled or whatever, and kind of use dice as that kind of way of a last one on loses or wins type of thing. So kind of cool, kind of interesting. I'm still figuring it out, but I mean, I made a game. That's not a lot of people can say that, and so I think it's pretty cool. It's something I definitely want to continue on, because having a game, I don't know, that'd be sweet. You pull up to everyone's like, "Yo, bring a game to game night," and then I pull up with my own game. I just had to figure out which game I want to play, but luckily I can use like ChatGPT and figure out the best way to do it and everything like that. But still, really cool. I enjoy it, and it's fun to just figure out what's next. Like, how do I make it work? So my next upgrade I have to do on that is the pieces move too easy, and so then they fall off. So I have to put a little like extrusion on the male part so that when the female part, the sprinkle goes over top of it, it like locks in a little bit and doesn't fall off. So now it's a little, it holds better. But that's our future. And then for the gears, no real point of the gears other than I can do it. Because yeah, I could try and make something cool out of it, but also I created my own gears. I'm going to just roll with it and see what I can do. And so I printed this little, I don't know, this rectangle with a bunch of holes in it that are a certain space apart so that all the gears can overlap and connect. And then I just adjusted them together, and then they all spin. And so now I have 7 gears on this little rectangle, and now they move when I move the main twister gear, I guess. So no point yet, but the gears do hang off the edges, so I could figure out a way to connect a part to it onto the gear system, or have it go off and hit something, or I don't really know how I want to take it yet, but still a pretty cool thing, and I don't know, I'm happy with it. So not a ton of specifics this week. It was just more of making things I want to make. And I mean, I made a game. I don't know. That's just the coolest thing that I've done in a while. So it's pretty cool, and I enjoy it a lot. Like I say every day. But now to the no product talking and just my personal stuff. It's been a month since I've been unemployed, and I have loved every single day of it. It is so much fun. I don't know. I get to have control over everything, and it is amazing, and I love it. It just sucks because I have no money. Well, I have money, I'm just not making money. And so doing this on my own and not in my parents' house, that's the problem. So my next kind of thing is figuring out a way to make money off this other than YouTube. And I want to sell STLs and stuff. It's just everything's so curated to me, or I don't know if other people need it. And then it means I have to kind of make all of them perfect. Not that that's a problem, but I don't have the oh, it's good now, let's leave it kind of gene. If I'm going to sell it, it's like I'm going to keep trying to improve it to make it better. I don't know if that will ever stop. So being able to sell it, I don't know. But hopefully with this game, I can figure out a way to get a base game where I can then sell that, because that's pretty cool. And that's something that is semi simple. Also, people can find their own games to play with it as well. It doesn't have to be what I suggest. So, kind of cool, kind of crazy. I'm also working on like 2 personal projects, but those are projects that I want to either get patent or bring up to where I pretty much patent it or sell it to a company or something like that, because they're like, in my opinion, they're really good ideas and almost too good to pass up on. Also, they're ideas that I have the facilities to be able to make. Because that's the big problem with all these other ones, is like, I give out these ideas because I don't really have the facilities or time to pursue them, and I don't have the interest. I just have the idea, so I give it. So that's kind of where I am right now. I don't know. I'm happy. I just wish I could be happy and in my own place, which would be even better. But don't pity me. Excite me. It's awesome. But if you have any ideas, let me know. Have any comments, concerns, questions, let me know. I don't know. I'm trying to make it. I'm an entrepreneur. I gotta push through. But thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoy these. Check out the video. This whole podcast will make 10 times more sense if you actually watch the video. But have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful night. And I will talk to you next week. Goodbye.